なんだと？金貨ではない、大金貨だぞ。それを1000枚用意できるのか？
はい、1枚の賭けもなくご用意させていただきます。
支払いは可及的速やかに行ってもらう。よもや関西まで幾年も待つようなことはせんぞ。1年、いや今年中にでも全額揃えてもらう。
ええ、そのつもりです。
All right, my friends, we just wrapped up Sasaki and Peeps episode number 10, and let me just put this energy out there. We now only have episode 11 and 12 left before we wrap up the winter season and before we wrap up Sasaki and Peeps. Will we get a season 2? Nothing's been announced yet. There's no information out there. And let me even, let's take to the interwebs and let's just do it together and let's go see if anything has been put out there, because sometimes, maybe there's a chance that I missed something. So let's go and let's take a look. So let's go to Sasaki and Peeps season 2 and let's just see if there is anything out here that is relevant or recent. And it looks like there really is. So everything here, at least just going through a quick Google search, everything is just referencing the beginning of the year and anything else here. And I think there was one. Will there be a season 2 at the top? Get you that first one. Blah blah blah. Hasn't been greenlit for season 2. So basically, this whole entire article is just saying, hey, hasn't been greenlit for season 2. Which, hey, I think we know that already. So here's the thing. I've said this time and time again, and wow, it got really dark in my room. I have said this time and time again that I think Sasaki and Peeps took on too much. Like, it tried to do too much. It had Japan. It had Sasaki and Peeps traveling to this parallel world where Peeps was originally from. And then it had a third angle to it, which is, so it had him living his life in Japan. It had him setting up and living his life in this fantasy alternate world. And then within Japan, it had him being some type of like psychic police officer, as well as having to deal with magical girls. Now, here's the main thing is it introduced us to magical girls, but we haven't really spent time with that, like that storyline for shit. And then the other piece of it, in Japan, it also introduced too many characters there too. So we got to get closer to his 16-year-old, psychic partner for a little bit. And then it swapped and it introduced us to Shizuka, whatever, the old grandma lady who's probably 100-something years old, who looks 12. It introduced us to her and she kind of took over that, that role in Japan. But then it kept introducing us and it kept dangling, like I think 2 episodes ago, and then even before, it kept dangling the carrot of his neighbor. And obviously his neighbor girl really likes him for whatever reason. And it kept introducing us to her, but for like 30 seconds, 1 minute at a time. And then she just is MIA. And they teased her again, I think last episode or episode before last. And then she just hasn't been a part of this at all. Then last episode, we got the beginning of this Mark-san, trying to get him in the alternate world. We got, trying to get him out of prison and the trouble that he's in. And all of that, and it spent all last episode kind of setting up for that, and it like gave us a cliffhanger of like Sasaki in a car just on his way to whatever. And then this whole episode was the setup for him getting Mark back to the kingdom and out of prison and all of this stuff. And I have to say, just from a pure enjoyment level, right? Like, not even critical. If I was gonna be like a critical reviewer, I'd probably put this episode like a 7 out of 10, 7.5 at the very best. But probably I'd be sitting about 7 out of 10. Critically, there's some good things here. There's some not good things, but just from pure enjoyment, like, I have to say, this is on the lower end of just enjoyment. Like, I felt like this little arc for Mark, really got stretched out. And I don't know why, but whoever, the director, the studio, whoever was adapting the source material into a script, they must have found this specific scenario with Mark very, very, very interesting. And for those who are familiar with source, because I've never read the source, I've never seen the source material, let me know in the comments down below. Like, let me know in the comments, like, was this arc to retrieve Mark so interesting? Because I'll tell you again, from an enjoyment level, it's been very, very boring. And again, I am, well, maybe not again, but let me reiterate some things I've said in the past is I think that Sasaki and Peeps had one of the best episode ones of winter season. Like, it was phenomenal. And after that, I just have felt, as we've progressed, let down slowly. Like, first and second episode, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, this is some good stuff. But then it's like, then he gets discovered. And then there's psychics in Japan, and they can waterbend, and they can do all this other stuff. And then, oh, there's this faction that's feuding with this psychic place in Japan. For whatever reason, they're trying to do something else. And then, hey, also, magical girls exist from this world. But hey, those magical girls aren't from this world. They're from a fairy world. But also, there's this isekai world, that this fantasy world where Peeps is from. But we don't know what the fantasy world is where the magical girls are from. But they're not from the same world that Peeps is from, because Peeps is the strongest magical person there. But let's not really worry about that too much, because he's just a bird. And let's just set up our lives here. But let's go back and forth. But it's just, it started to do too much. It got convoluted, and it never saw everything fully through. I guess you could argue that this Mark arc saw all the way through, so I guess you could say that it did see something through, but I feel like we haven't fully fleshed out any of the things. It's just kind of a mess. And again, that's a disappointment, because I feel like they had something really unique here with, magical person? No, that's not the right word. With a wizard or magical user, like the strongest magical user in this land, seemingly getting his powers restricted into bird form. And we never really explored really even how he managed to come to this world. We never even explored that. But like, very interesting that this very powerful magician wizard ended up in Japan, and he discovered him, and that's his loop to go and isekai freely back and forth. Like, there was some really, really, really interesting setup here that I just really haven't felt fulfilled in. And not to poo-poo over it if you've been enjoying it. Like, hey, please enjoy. That's what anime's for. Enjoy it. It's the same thing like everybody else. We could all go to the movies this weekend and watch I don't even know what movies are out. We could go watch Kung Fu Panda 4 this weekend, and just like everything else, somebody could go in with maybe pre-enjoyment of Kung Fu Panda, and they'd be like, wow, this is the best film, whatever, and somebody else can go in and still watch it and be like, I hated that, I think that was a piece of trash. Both opinions are valid if they decided to consume the piece of media. So because we're on this side, again, I want to acknowledge, like, hey, if you're enjoying it, awesome. Like, hey, that's what this is here for. Please continue to support anime, because that's what we need to do. Just even the trash ones, we need to just, we need to watch the popcorn flick animes, because they needed to exist still. But anyways, I'm not gonna go on this alternate down spiral of talk there. But anyways, Sasaki and Peeps episode 10 is fine. I hope it gets better, but I mean, at the end of the day, we have 2 episodes left. How much excitement can we really get? So anyways, let me know what you guys thought in the comments. I'll be interested to read what you guys say, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.